Hello, welcome back to Podcast vs. Player episode 71. I'm Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who isn't a fan of the new Jurassic Park film, as he believes that dinosaurs were lies, fed to us to cover up the existence of Pokemon. It's only bloody Dan.
I disagree. I don't think Pokemon are real, and I like the new Jurassic Park film, so shut up, you don't know what you're on about.
You're a Pokemon.
I'll bloody poke your mon.
Fingers crossed. How are you, Squire?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, we've had a week off.
We have, yeah. Mainly due to various birthdays and bits and pieces and just mess. But we're back with a vengeance and hard.
We are, but we're hard.
Yep.
Really?
Well, no.
I'm a bit flaccid. Anyway, do you want some news?
Yeah, go
on. Some guy has got Half-Life running on a smartwatch. YouTube user Dave Bennett got the game working on an Android Wear watch by using an app called SD Lash to emulate the Gold Source engine that runs the original Half-Life. Originally, Bennett got Half-Life working on other Android devices. Then he realised the same process could get the game running on an Android watch. The game works surprisingly well. Its frame rate's inconsistent, ranging from 2 to 60 frames a second, depending on the settings. However, the game is fully functional and the watch effectively renders its graphics. Half-Life originally launched on PC in 1998, and now you can play it on your wrist.
How very good.
Pointless.
Quite, but the fact that he can do it is very impressive.
How playable can it be, though?
Well, unless you can plug a gamepad into it or a mouse and
Exactly.
keyboard, it's probably not very. But the fact is that you can say, the watch is this good, you can emulate actual full games on it, and it will run. Almost.
Well, almost is a bit of a stretch. 2 to 60 frames a second.
Well, true, but I'm pretty sure I've got some games that will only run at 2 frames a second. Minecraft probably being the biggest one.
Surprisingly.
You piss about with that enough, then yeah, you'll get your 2 frames a second.
I'll let him off.
I think it's a very good achievement. Well done to him.
It is a good achievement, but you can actually buy Half-Life for Android anyway.
Yeah, but it's...
providing you got a NVIDIA.
I think it's probably more of a testament to the power of the watch, rather than, look, I can play games on my watch. It's more, look, you can actually, this watch is pretty powerful. So powerful you can actually play full games on it.
It's kind of a massive, contradiction on... We've talked about, the Apple iWatch, and the people are actually going out of the way to make games. They've come out, publishers like EA and stuff have said, we're going to make games for the Apple iWatch. And it's like, shut up, nobody wants to play games on the fucking watch.
No, I think the Tiger wristwatches kind of killed that fucking trend about 30 years ago.
It's impossible.
Well,
unless it's like Connect 4 or something.
I think the only ones that you're really going to be able to do anything with are kind of like ones that are movement based. So, anything that sort of is, runs off a gyroscope.
I suppose you could do Flappy Bird.
Maybe, but it's the only time you're going to use this is when you haven't got your phone with you. Because if you're playing games on the go, you've either got a DS, you've got a Vita or a PSP, or you've got your mobile phone, which has got a bunch of pretty good phones. They've usually got pretty good games on them if you've got a decent enough phone. Obviously we've both got the Galaxy Note 4. We can play PlayStation games on it. So
legally.
Well, yeah. But there's there's Grand Theft Auto, and if you've got a long trip or whatever. So I can't think as to what market they could possibly fill with a phone on your watch, because A, the screen's going to be ridiculously small, and B, you're not going to have the control functionality in order to replicate. You won't be able to play GTA on it, because where's your 2 thumbsticks coming into it?
Exactly. This is what I mean, and a lot of people say to me, it's like, your phone is massive. It's like, no, it's not big enough.
Well, yeah, for what we actually use it for. I mean, you obviously do a lot of artwork on yours, which, obviously, you probably need another inch or so. That's what she said. But, that's the point of it, though. It's because there's the pen with it. You can draw with it. The games you can get with it, they just look so much better on this quality of a screen, and, with the processing power behind it. That's kind of the point. It's sort of... It is... The sort of the mix between a good smartphone and a good tablet. It's that kind of, that's what you want from it, and that's fine. But I can't really think of a design or a specific sort of game that would only work on a watch, unless it was going off your heartbeat, or like I say,
it's a fitness game.
Yeah, exactly. So something off the gyroscope, so a pedometer, so you've got to run away from things, or Tamagotchis. That's pretty much all I can think of that would, you've got to keep a pet alive that's on your wrist. But the only reason you'd buy something for your wrist is to tell the time with it. And your phone does that anyway.
I can see why people want, like, smart watches and stuff. They are cool.
Well, it's new technology.
Games and stuff.
It's a new idea, so for...
Dick Tracy.
Yeah, exactly. I'd want it to be like a full GPS that I could sync up to my computer at home, say. So if I'm out and get lost, and my phone battery dies or whatever, someone who is expecting, say if I was going to yours, right, and the train was cancelled, or I got kicked off the train halfway through for a bomb scare or whatever, and my phone battery was dead, and you were just like, that's weird, he's supposed to have been here by now, or he hasn't texted me to say why he's going to be late. Then you could sign on to like an app website or whatever, put in the code for whatever my watch is, and it would say he's in Gloucester, and you'd be like, "Whoa, that's not right." And then you could send a text to the watch or something, or saying, "Is everything all right? Do you need me to call you a cab?" Just something like that, just a
or a Skype call or something.
Exactly, yeah. That sort of thing would be fine. But I think the only way that you're going to get any progression from, I mean, it's a good first step. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, they do look cool, and they have got their purpose. Especially like if you don't want to carry around a music player. If your phone isn't, you don't use it for music, plug it into the watch. The watch has got a 32 gig memory or whatever, and you just plug it into that, and then off you go. But I'd like to see more of a sort of like like a full arm, like your forearm. That's your
like a Pit Boy.
No, not even that. Like if you've ever seen After Earth, like it's a terrible film, but the sort of the communication thing they've got is like a sort of touchscreen. Think kind of like Minority Report, kind of like holographic interface.
Yeah.
But like over the forearm, that kind of thing. That's where I want it to go. So if this is the first step, then I'm all for it, because that's what I want to get. Because then that would replace the need for a phone.
That'd be cool though if you had a watch, like a smartwatch, same size as normal ones, like 2-3 inches, something like that. Maybe smaller, but you press a button and it's like the Batman thing from the Arkham games.
Yeah, so it'd be like a holographic display.
Like holograph, yeah.
Well, as we haven't got that for like full computer setup and stuff, I think miniaturising it to wristwatch size and then making it available to the public, I think we're quite a few years away from that.
I don't want one then. but this is what I mean. We've got all these negative points, and then somebody gets Half-Life running on it, and you're like, yeah, that's amazing.
But that's the thing, though. It just shows that the technology's there, but it just means that you can run a game that's 10 years old or 20 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that it can do it is great. The point of doing it, though...
Not so great.
No, not really. I mean, I want to see... If this is a genuine platform for gaming now, people said that mobile phone games would just be, Tetris, Snake, and that'd be pretty much it. And now... I mean, fair enough, there's a lot of things that have crossed over from, consoles and PC that are now available on your phone. But, the originality that comes from some of the mobile games, although they get copied to shit, sort of like Flappy Birds and Angry Birds and things like that,
Well, Angry Birds migrated its way onto consoles.
Exactly. So I'd like to see if people do, believe this and put some faith in the fact that it's going to be a good platform. I'd like to see the sort of things that people can come up with, because I bet you anything that if they said we're going to make it sort of indie game developer compatible or whatever, I bet there'd be some brilliant ideas that we would never think of, and you'd go, oh shit, I would definitely play that.
Well, I know it's not it's not necessarily an indie game. Well, it technically is, but they had a game before it. But Rocket League,
right?
It's really, really original, and it probably could be done on a phone as well.
Yeah, on a phone, definitely.
In a sense, but probably wouldn't control as well.
No, it'd just be the same thing as a Vita, basically.
Yeah.
But for something like, I think something simplistic like Minecraft or Portal or something like that, something that you don't need. But that Portal then, because then you'd have to point your wrist out in order to fire a portal.
Yeah.
And then you'd point it somewhere else to open up another one, or some kind of AR interface with it, with a Rift or something like that. I mean, if anything, just say, well, you can have two of them, put them on your wrists, and then you can use them with your Oculus, and you can punch people in the face.
That'd be pretty easy.
That would be good, except that obviously the cost is going to be extortionate.
Yeah. And then there's the chance that that could be the only game that utilises all three together.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, it's going back to old peripherals where it was like the Rob Robot thing that they made for the NES or the SNES, whatever it was. There's only like 3 games that you could use it with. So you'd spend 80 quid or whatever it was on this stupid little robot, and you can only play 3 things with it. And how often can you play those before you get bored with them? Yeah. So it's got to be something that you can use on a more sort of permanent basis. Honestly, I think that the sort of the fitness and motion sensor is probably the way to go for it. So although I am impressed that they managed to get Half-Life on it, the life, the sort of the lifetime for gaming on a watch, I don't think it's going to be there, to be honest.
I'd probably say about 10 minutes. Anyway,
I don't know.
Moving on. Speaking of old games, Dan, Metal Gear Solid 5 on PlayStation 4 will take up less space than Metal Gear Solid 4 on PS3. I can't figure it out.
What?
But
what is it, like compression ratios and stuff?
I have no idea. Let's have a look. The upcoming open world stealth em-up comes with a surprisingly small storage requirement, with the full digital download of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain requiring 25.1GB of free space on PlayStation 4, according to the pre-order listing on the Japanese PlayStation Store. The Phantom Pain is a massive open world game, so it's expected to require a lot of space, but surprisingly it takes up less than most other open world games. Less, in fact, than Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots on PlayStation 3. Metal Gear Solid 4's PS Store listing has it at 26.6GB.
That doesn't seem like a huge amount.
Not really, but that was... I mean, how long ago did MGS4 come out?
Oh god. I got it when I was living in Stafford, so about 8 or 9 years ago.
And the Phantom Pain is a new one with the new engine, like much better graphics.
Maybe they just WinZipped like all the files, so you like everything just loads in chunks.
I have a feeling the game sizes are going to be the cutscenes are real time, so there's going to be more. There's going to be more compression so there's no loading basically.
Well, it's just going to stream it from the internet.
Not from the internet, but
that would be good if you just sort of like whenever you went into a cutscene, it just opened up a YouTube browser thing.
Yeah, and just showed you a video.
Yeah.
But if they haven't got to constantly switch between like a cutscene graphics back to like the in-game graphics, it's less. There's more compression because they haven't got to.
Yeah, it's not different.
Basically, switch between the two. That's why Uncharted is always loaded really quick once the game has started. In comparison, though, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt takes up 50GB. Arkham Knight requires 45GB and Bloodborne is 25.3.
Well, maybe it's just a smaller open world.
Well, that's the thing though, because Metal Gear Solid 4 wasn't open world.
No, it wasn't. It was just, but it was a very long game. But it was still just A to B.
Yeah, it was just levels to levels with ridiculously long load times.
Very, and the install.
Oh, mate, to be fair, I mean when I first saw it, when I was installing it, and you see Snake just having a smoke. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then he smokes it all. And it's like, oh, there we go. And then he gets another one. He's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, or like, it's kind of like when you're watching a movie and it's like the first act, second act, third act of the film. It's like when you get through the first part of the game, then you get to like the outside bit, and then it just goes back into an install load thing, and you're just like, wait, what? No, we've already done this. And then it does it again. And it's just like, oh, God. You might as well just give me 3 pissing discs.
Yeah. Yay for Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of video games, Xbox One's Rise of the Tomb Raider demo has reached 1080p.
Hooray!
Congratulations, Xbox.
Well done. Well done to you.
Nearly 2 years in. The current in-development version of Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox One is running at 1080p, creative director Brian Horton has confirmed. A preview from NX Gamer suggested that a recent game demo was outputting at 900p, but Horton clarified on Twitter it was indeed running at full HD. The resolution for the final retail version of Rise of the Tomb Raider has yet to be confirmed. However, Horton has said in a previous interview with Gaming Bolt that developer Crystal Dynamics was targeting 1080p. So, it's not really news, Dan.
Well, it's progression. It's good.
Yeah, but it should already be running at 1080p.
It should, but we can't worry about that now. So, well done for Microsoft for pulling your finger out and getting it back up to scratch. Well done. I'm still not buying one, though.
Kinect is still useless.
Yep, brilliant.
And that's it though, Dan. That's it for the news.
Okay.
This week, however, this weekend, sorry, I have blitzed Wet Hot American Dream series on Netflix, and it is possibly the funniest thing I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
I recommend it to everyone, even if you haven't seen the film. Watch the film after, it doesn't matter. So Dan, with that in mind, I was thinking, because it used to be a film, well, it still is a film, what do you think, any film from the past, not from the future, but what films do you think would make a good comeback as a TV show instead of like a sequel or a prequel to a film?
Daredevil.
Not Daredevil.
I think Daredevil would make a great TV show. I think they should definitely get on that. Probably someone like Netflix, because they've got a lot more sort of, they can play around with the format a lot more. So I think Daredevil, that's my one and only answer.
Never going to happen.
Really, do you reckon?
Never going to happen.
Oh yeah, you're probably right, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I'd like to think that, I'd like to think there'd be a lot of sort of sci-fi kind of films, but like on a more, maybe behind the scenes, so it's not all constant action. So before they released... So we can
see all the cameras and stuff?
No. I mean, sort of like, characters and who they are and, kind of in... And until they released all the fucking sequels, something like Starship Troopers, I would have liked to have seen, Earth getting fucked up.
They did it as a TV show, didn't they?
I know, yeah, but I mean, they did that after all the sequels, and it was bullshit.
True, yeah.
So if they'd just focused, if they'd just done the one, done it as a one-off, and then done some TV show work, sort of do some looking at the Roughnecks and the Bug Planet and how they were doing everything, something like that, I think would have been quite cool. But then I'd like to see something like Aliens. I'd like to see what's happening with the kind of like in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. It would always be sort of like about Sarah and I think
it's the name.
Well, no, but I think John was in it as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, John Connor was in it.
Yeah, but you'd only ever see a Terminator like once a season,
Yeah.
Apart from the girl Terminator, obviously, but like you'd only see like a bad guy Terminator. So if you did something like that for Aliens, so there's people just working on a big ship, and then they get the eggs sent on board, or there's crazy scientists and stuff, and then Alien breaks out at the end of the season and starts killing everybody. Something like that I'd like to see.
That could work, actually.
Yeah.
I'd quite. It's never ever going to happen, but I'd quite like to see Blade Runner. But mainly because Blade Runner is just an ace film.
I never really got that into Blade Runner, to be honest.
It's an awesome film.
Yeah. But then it's things like sort of iRobot or AI and stuff. I
suppose
because it's just sort of like they're so sort of special effects demanding that everyone would just have to be people, and you just have to believe that they're a robot.
Yeah,
kind of like Ex Machina or something. Like that would be. I'd love to see what she went on to do after she left that thing.
Yeah.
But
good film, that is.
It's a really good film. I'd definitely recommend. I don't know. There's a lot of sort of. It depends on whether it's going to be sort of following them directly. It's kind of like Constantine. Like Constantine was a good film with Keanu Reeves. I really liked the film, and that's something I'd say I'd like to see that more sort of broken down into episodes fighting one bad guy, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, it's been cancelled now, which I can't understand because I really liked it. And if I like it, I don't understand why they're playing with it.
Because nobody watched it.
But that's not the point. They should. It's really good. But that just worked as a good format because they were just doing cameos for sort of other DC characters, and the sort of the character build up for Constantine and his other sort of mates that were with him was really good, and it was interesting. And it's one of the things that I think should have worked, and I think it did to a degree. But I'm gutted that they've decided not to carry on and do something. But on the same level, though, if you'd have said, "What about Hannibal as a TV show?" I'd say, "Well, no, that's rubbish," because it's this sort of larger than life serial killer, and it's only really about his either crimes or them sending out them sort of asking him for help for other stuff. I wouldn't have thought that would be something they could translate into a TV show, and yet they have brilliantly.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
So basically, if you are going to make a TV show based on a film property, make it so that Dan doesn't like it, because Dan is the worst, good luck charm. because everything Dan likes gets cancelled.
Yeah. Outcasts, that was cancelled after the first season. I loved that.
They had a good couple of albums though.
Very funny. Yeah, then Hannibal's been sort of dropped from the ABC network.
They've let all the actors have been let from the contract.
Oh, have they? So right, okay.
There's no chance that that's coming back now.
Yeah, fair enough then. Teen Titans, that was cancelled when I started to get into that. I was gutted by that. See, I because I'm really into Battlestar Galactica, I've just started watching it again. It's just a really good show. I think that's the thing, though. With that one, I think it's just because it's not all just sort of spaceship battles and, there's real sort of drama and, corruption and, sort of personal challenge and survival and stuff like that built into it as well. It gives it a really good base. I mean, I think that was a feature film back in like the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, there was a big film for it.
Yeah, but there was also a TV show, so I'm not sure if it was that and then the show or the other way around. But either way, they did the same kind of thing. They made a feature-length episode. Well, it was 2 parts, which sort of equated to like an hour and a half or whatever. And then they've done I can't remember how many, sort of like 7 or 8 seasons. And anything that you sort of get into, anything that you're highly invested in, whenever the ending comes around, it's always never as good as you want it to be.
Yeah,
same kind of thing.
Breaking Bad, I disagree.
Well,
Breaking
I haven't
Bad
watched that.
Really good.
I haven't watched that, so I can't comment on that. But for most of the things I sort of get invested in, Lost and all that sort of stuff, when the ending sort of rolls around, it's just sort of like,
That's why I'm waiting for Hollyoaks to finish.
No, everyone it'll be a meteorite and it'll just wipe everybody out.
They'll wake up and it was all a dream. They all live in EastEnders.
Absolutely, yeah. They live in a better soap opera, yeah. But I don't know, but as for sort of, it's like Blade was a TV show and that was awful.
I'd never watched it.
No. RoboCop. Maybe.
I used to watch the RoboCop show, but I remember, I was pretty young, but I remember it being on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, it's like the new RoboCop though. It's not violent, and the first one was horrific.
Yeah, but when RoboCop came out, it was like ridiculously dark and violent.
Yeah, people
probably
getting
not by
shot
today's standards, but
no.
At the time it was.
But yeah.
And for them to make a TV show and make it on after, what was that plane show? Oh shit me! I can't remember what it's called now. I want to say Wolf.
Airwolf.
Airwolf. It was on after Airwolf.
That was a helicopter, wasn't it?
It might have been a helicopter. I don't know. My dad used to watch it, but it was on after that on a Saturday afternoon, and then just before this fucking Hulk Hogan army show thing. They were so cool. I can't remember what it's called now, but it was like a Navy SEAL. It was so good.
God.
It was awful. But I don't get how they could go from RoboCop the film to RoboCop the series, and because there's a TV like a cartoon as well.
Well, like Hannibal is incredibly violent compared to the first RoboCop. So if they redid a RoboCop show now, I think they'd have a better time with it if they could make it an 18.
Yeah, if they did do it how they did it.
Yeah. One thing I think would actually work really well is Galaxy Quest, like with Tim Allen and like Sigourney Weaver.
Good actually.
And what's his name? The guy he was Hans in Die Hard and Snape.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh shit, the bed. Alan something. Alan?
No, I don't know.
Shit, can't remember his name. Anyway, he's a really good actor. Him, yeah. But that the whole thing is like it's obviously like a parody and spoof of like Star Trek and Babylon 5 and all that sort of stuff. But I think that the sort of, because it could all just be cardboard sets. At the end of the film, they were remaking the TV show. Like it was just it's like a TV show that just died off and got a cult following and blah blah blah. But at the end, because of the events of the film and getting them all back together and getting them interested in it again, they remade the TV show. So I'd like them to do that remade TV show as a TV show.
As a TV show.
Yeah, and it could be just corny and it could just poke fun at all the sort of the normal sci-fi tropes and things. And I think that would be brilliant. I definitely want to watch that.
It's stuff like that does work, because like Wet Hot American Summer, in the film, which was a few years ago, they were all playing like, I think they were like 16, 18, but none of the cast looked young enough to play the characters. It was just because of the comedy style that it was, you just went along with it.
Yeah. Now
they're even older, and this is like the TV show's a prequel to the film, so they're even younger. but they're actually older in real life.
I do like that when it's sort of like when it's a flashback of someone who's like 40 or something, and instead of actually getting in a child actor or something, they just sit them behind like a school desk, surrounded by other like 10-year-olds, and just put like a kid's wig on them and stuff. I think that just works better. If it's a comedy, anyway, that definitely
it wouldn't work
better.
in like a serial drama. But it's just so funny. Like there's a bit where a guy, he literally just puts a bandana on and he puts his head down while he's tying it. When he stands up, he's got a beard, and like he didn't have one before. And it's just like really proper like 80s / early 90s comedy, like Aeroplane, stuff like that.
Well, it's like, did you ever watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
No, I remember it being on, but I never watched it.
See, that was really funny because it kind of, it sort of made fun of the sort of 70s, 80s kind of murder, mystery, paranormal sort of thing. And they purposely made it so it was terrible. Like, as an actual show, it was terrible, but because it was a comedy thing, you just laugh at it because of how bad it was. So, all the writing was really pretentious, and like, props would just appear and it would just cut out and music wouldn't sync up and stuff. And it like the guy who plays Dixon Bainbridge, he's in it as well.
Yeah, he's funny as hell.
But that's the thing, and like because he's like one of the main characters with like a few other people from sort of British comedy, sort of spaced and stuff. It just works really well because it's just a piss take of its own genre. So I think comedy films would be better. Something like Evan Almighty, or Bruce Almighty. It's just a guy who's given powers by God, and he's just talked to, and it's just what he gets up to. When he's got all the powers of God, that sort of stuff. That sort of thing it works. It's things like with they can't have a massive special effects budget, or they can't afford the same characters that were in the films. Those are the ones that you sort of want to focus on. But what about I pose the question to you then? If you could have a game, an old game that was turned into a TV show, have you got any suggestions for what you'd like to see?
Ooh.
Because I've got one that I just thought of, so I'll open with this, just to give you some time to think. But I thought something like Command and Conquer. Like, because the cutscenes and things from the old Command and Conquer games, like Red Alert and stuff, where it's like Einstein and time travel and...
Well, you've got... there's one of the girls from Hollyoaks is in Command and Conquer.
A bunch of famous people have. George Takei, what's his name?
Well,
Ray Liotta.
She's famous.
No, but they are. They're like not action stars, like bloody film stars and stuff. They pop up and do. Like, I'm pretty sure one of the guys from The Expendables was in like Red Alert 2. So there's just a bunch of famous people they can get in because they just sat behind a desk and just do things by like video communication or whatever. So I'd like to see sort of like building up bases and I don't know how it would work. I just don't think it'd be very good. It's just something I'd like to see.
I would like. I'm in a proper 80s mood this weekend, but I'd quite like to see something like Double Dragon. But in the style of like Kung Fury.
That is a perfect suggestion.
So it'd just be like completely. There's no stuff like this girl's been one of their girlfriends has been kidnapped, and it's just them beating people up to get to her.
Yeah, then just really over the top, like throwing phone boxes and stuff at people.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that would be a brilliant suggestion. Yeah,
I really want to see that now.
Well, they did a film, didn't they? Didn't they do a Double Dragon film?
Oh, it's got to be awful.
I'm pretty sure it would be, but I'm pretty sure it would be a film that was taking it seriously rather than.
See,
like if you play like Double Dragon Neon, like that is it's a parody, but it's the 80s and it's just like hyper radical 80s.
Yeah.
So like everything calls for like a Bill and Ted sort of like like all that sort of stuff. Brilliant, do it.
That's what it needs that. If you make it serious, it's not going to work, and that's the problem with video game to films or TV shows is the fact 9 times out of 10 they're taken far too seriously.
Yeah, and they can't be. If that's your subject matter, if it's a video game, unless it's something like The Last of Us or Uncharted, where it's not just about enjoying yourself; it's about a story as well. It's a narrative.
At the same time, though, this is my argument for why I didn't want an Uncharted game or an Uncharted film or a Last of Us film. It's because it's already
it's
like
pretty much
a
there,
cinematic experience.
Yeah, it's as much of a film that you can be involved in as you can really get, because you're enjoying yourself, but then you also have to control yourself around getting to the next part of the film, so to speak. You know, it's like Metal Gear. You know, a lot of people complain about the cutscenes in Metal Gear. You know, it's like 9 hours of fucking cutscenes in Metal Gear 4. But as confusing and as convoluted as it is integral to the story. You can't just skip all of that and understand as to what's going on. I mean, you can still complete the game.
I'll be totally honest.
What's the point?
Even if you watch them all, you don't know what the fuck's going on.
No, it takes 2 or 3 goes. Unless you're, you know, sort of... I don't know if it's just more of sort of like, you know, the Japanese mentality, just understand it a lot more. But it took me a long time to figure out as to what the fuck was going on and who was who and why AI was in control of everything.
I mean, I watch a lot of anime. A lot. And even the most, like, massively convoluted, like, storyline, like, in anime, does not compare with Metal Gear.
Yeah.
I don't even think he knew what he was on about half the time. But now we'll never know because he's gone.
I don't know. I can't really think of anything else that I'd sort of like to see.
I'm sticking with Double Dragon.
Yeah, I'd say Double Dragon's a pretty good one, really. But you know, sort of like the likes of Super Mario Brothers just doesn't work. Like Mega Man wouldn't work.
I think Mega Man could work, but as a cartoon, not as a.
Well, they already did, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd work if you just dress some dude up in blue.
I'll tell you what I would like to see. It would just be basically like The Walking Dead, but I'd like to see like Left 4 Dead or something.
Maybe,
because it would just be... I mean, if The Walking Dead wasn't around, then I think that would be a perfect idea, because it's just sort of survival, get from here to here, we need to get to the thing, we need to do this objective in order to unlock this objective, that sort of thing. But Walking Dead is just that owns the sort of the zombie genre at the moment. That's sort of the, in my opinion anyway, it's sort of like the pinnacle of the sort of zombie TV show.
Oh yeah, definitely. But even that's getting stale now.
Pretty much, which I think is why they don't focus on the zombies. It's more a case of you're invested in the characters and you want to see them survive, whereas any of them could just be written out at any point.
Half of them want to see written out.
I don't know. There's a few people I want to kind of stay in. It's kind of like the sort of the Big Brother, like Celebrity Big Brother thing. You know, the people that you hate the most, you want to stay in because you want them to suffer more. So, like, I mean, I don't like those sort of like Big Brother shows. I think they just like the first one was good as kind of like a social experiment. You know, see how people react when they're constantly monitored, but they sort of forget after a while. But the way it's got now, it's just sort of it's people who just want to be famous, and it's just really annoying. But when you see people that are genuinely in tears, just saying, "I miss my family, and I want to go home," and you're just like, "I hate you because you're such a dick, and I'm not going to vote for you because I want you to stay and have to eat, custard cream pies for 24 hours straight or something." And it's that sort of, I want to see you suffer and burn.
So I don't know though, because Sasha is like the most annoying character in Walking Dead. But I don't want her to stay and suffer. I want her to just be eaten, so I don't have to sit and watch her anymore.
No, I don't know. I quite like her. She's got
she annoys me silly.
No, she's getting more sort of like because she's been so used to being in battle and stuff, and looking over her shoulder every couple of minutes. Now that she's got a nice safe haven, she's becoming really unstable because she's just not used to it and she can't adjust to it. It's like PTSD. It's like soldiers returning from home and they can't quite cope with it.
She's not normality. A soldier though, and she hasn't been doing it as long as everyone else.
No, but she still had to suffer enough of it. I mean, Bob was killed and eaten, and pretty much everyone that she knows that she will watch them die at some point or another.
She better not stay.
I don't think she's as strong as someone like Carol. Like Carol, I think should stay in it forever.
Carol's awesome.
Carol's the best,
but that's why Carol won't stay in it.
But that's it. Yeah, that's the thing. Because everyone likes her, they'll kill her off to keep interest. It's just like, oh shit! Now Carol's gone. What are they going to do?
Yeah, nobody's safe.
Yeah,
look at Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'd say make a Walking Dead TV show. That's probably I love the game.
I think there's a comic. I'm not sure. Well, no, but it's going to be hard for anything to go from another medium to a TV show. Yeah. It's going to be hard to reach the levels of something like The Walking Dead. Actually, I'll tell you what I want to see as a TV show: Scott Pilgrim.
Do you know what? I actually thought of that. I thought of that a while ago because I watched the film a couple of days ago, and as soon as you were talking about it, I got that in my head, and then I forgot about it. What a dickhead!
That'd be an awesome, because Adult Swim made a really short animation that actually followed the books, not the film. But they only made like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And then they just never made any more. And it was awesome. It was really, really cool. It's only like about 5-10 minutes per episode, but they were proper good. They looked just like the books.
Yeah.
And they're good, but they just never made any more. But I think that'd make a really good TV show.
Yeah, because it could be funny. There could be sort of comedy fighting and just a lot of music in it.
Well, you got 6 books, and they're quite big. Well, graphic novels, so you could get a fair few seasons out of it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, definitely.
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Everything Kickstarter.
But on that note, that's all we got, Dan.
Okay.
What is the plan for the channel?
We'll do stuff.
We're going to get some stuff done.
Probably. That's as much as I'm willing to commit to at this point.
Yeah, we've got new means of recording, so we've actually broadened our content via Xbox One, Wii U, PS3, PS4. We can record everything now.
Thank you, Windows 10.
So at least we've got more options in what we're going to bring to your eyes and your ears, and maybe, just maybe, your genitals.
Yeah, but don't worry though, it will all be terrible.
Yeah, we'll still keep the same amount of standards. We're not sellouts.
Standards?
Well,
where can they find it though?
You can find it over on www.podcastversusplayer.com or .co.uk, and if you go to that website, there's actually links to our YouTube channel, which is...
It's youtube.com/podcast VS Player.
There you go. If you want to talk to us, or just read what we say on a daily basis, you can go on Twitter, which is @podcastvplayer. And then if you still just can't get enough of us, you can email us. There you go.
Podcast versus player. Somewhere.
No. playervpodcast@gmail.com.
That's the one, yeah.
Well done, Dan.
See, I'm already sick to death of you, so I doubt they want to get in touch.
We're also thinking of changing up our design.
A little bit, yeah. We sort of went a bit 50s, sort of a bit vintage, sort of post-apocalyptic, kind of Fallout-y sort of stuff. But I think it's simply for the fact that we've just been watching a lot of sort of retro stuff. I've watched Kung Fury another time a few days ago, which is just Triceratops.
It's
and just
amazing.
Brilliant. So yeah, we're going to go for a bit of sort of Far Cry, Blood Dragon, Double Dragon Neon, Kung
retro
Fury.
80s.
Yeah.
So we'll actually have 2 websites. One will be the main website, which will have everything on, and then we'll have the themed website, which you'll have videos, podcasts, and our store, which we're thinking of opening, which will not just be our stuff, it'll be some of my artwork and stuff as well. And that's pretty much it.
It sounds good though.
It just looks phenomenal, if
Yeah,
I do say
wow.
so myself.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, man. On that note, though, we're going to go.
Yeah, I think so.
So get Windows 10, you crazy kids.
Definitely, it's worth
And
it.
I waved at the microphone.
You're an idiot then.
I am. Bye!